All right, everybody. It's been a minute since we brought you a hot girl pop-up.
I know.
So I figured, why not on a Friday just give you a little cuteness, Just
some of us.
Just the two of us. Well, and it's also because we have some important. Yep, exactly. It's also because we have some important things to talk about. But just in case you don't know who the heck we are, this is part of the Safe Word crew. This is Hot Girl Pop-Ups, and I am your host, Aurora Storm. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. This is your co-host, Miss Sasha Lyncher.
Exactly. So we had a little bit of a homework session, but I'm going to get into that in a second. Last week, we were talking about sex workers. The week before that, we interviewed Mr. Valentino, who is a sex worker. Then we kind of broke down what sex work was. So today, we're bringing you kind of the feminine aspect of sex workers, what it is to be feminine, all those different types of things. So I gave Miss Sasha a little homework. I had homework as well. We watched the documentary Stripped Down, Rise Up. So if you haven't seen that on Netflix and you're a woman, even if you're not a woman, you just want to get some empowerment, you want to feel good, you want to cry, you want to laugh.
That was a good one.
You need to watch it. But I had to watch it because there's some really big things that are brought up in there that really are intriguing, make you ask questions, make you view yourself. So
very thought-provoking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's kick this off and take it in a certain direction instead of just going, hey, this was the show. Now we're going to break down the show. So what are some things that were brought up for you with watching this documentary?
So the baseline that I really sensed through this movie was, as women, we go through so much and we're expected to just do.
Yes.
To just kind of be this a lucid form of a woman. We're taught to just love. We're taught to facilitate, to be teachers. And we often lose sight of ourselves just trying to play this role of a woman that we're never really taught. What are the steps? What is this woman made of?
Like?
What does it look like? What does she wear? What does she do? And does she look different for everybody else? And we kind of just float through the world and through the motions, trying to understand what woman is, and we're not really taught self. We kind of have to figure it out. But that was one of the baselines that kind of set the tone for the show. Like, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that what they're touching on is the fact that femininity is lost, especially nowadays. I mean, I can even say on a personal level that finding my femininity, like Miss Sasha said, was something I taught myself. Like, my mother was not somebody that was very feminine. She's, dresses like a dude, and that's how she taught me, like, be strong. You don't wear pink. You don't put on makeup. So there, as a woman, as a little girl growing up, there's a lot of confusion that happened. You got something to add to that? Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was an interesting point that you brought up, because your matriarch of femininity wasn't necessarily a woman per se.
No.
So how is femininity taught when you're in a household when you have a single dad? That's something we can't say, but I know me per se, my mom was gone more, so I had an aloof view of how to be a woman, because I only really got to see her because she worked. My dad was a disabled retiree, so he was the facilitator. So I heard what it was like to be a woman from a male's perspective, and that's kind of what I took the two, and I had to intermingle it to figure it out. So since that's how I did it, how did you kind of navigate?
That's perfect, because honestly, I don't think I did navigate it very well, because even to this day, there's things that as a woman, I should know how to do, or know how to go pick out, or and I don't.
I think we kind of have learned a lot from each other, because you've given me my own boss up training, and I think my inherently feminine, dainty ways.
I'll go to you all the time. I'm like, girl, what am I supposed to buy for this? Because I don't know.
Soft.
I need some soft stuff. Yeah, but I mean, and it's a daily struggle with me. So watching the show, it was really interesting because it is a daily struggle with me because I still have my mom's stuff in the back of my head with every step I take and everything. You're not being strong. Well, get up off your ass. Well, okay, well, you can work, you can love your children, you can blah, blah, blah. You can go over there. You got to do it all. You know, and like if I'm not doing it all, I feel like less of a person. Right. And it's a very masculine standpoint to sit in, you know, and that's how I was raised. So,
and that's where S Factor comes in.
Right. That's where S Factor comes in because Sheila Kelly created this program called S Factor, and her vision on it is to bring in women's empowerment and femininity and teach you about how to connect with your body to release trauma. So, I mean, I thought that was a really beautiful piece because I've done some of that work within my dungeon work. And also I used to teach dance and I've seen lots of breakthroughs happen just in dance itself. Yeah. So to do a very sensual dance where you have to tap into self, I mean, I think that would be massively moving. You know, you could really move some trauma outside of like some of the stuff that I've done even. I mean, what do you think? Because you come from a dancer's background also.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think dancing and art and passion, all those things that you try to do, they're vulnerable. They're extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
I think that becomes your outlet when you are going through something traumatic or self-discovery. You release yourself through your art or the things that you just love. So using dance, I used to do ballet. And when you get lost in a piece, you get lost in the music and you're just expressing what you think this character is. It's moving in itself. You hear somebody singing at church, you about to cry. Yep. So embodying everything you feel like you've lost, absolutely, I would feel like that's empowering. And I don't see how people can find anything like shameful or negative.
So like another piece that I kind of wanted to take on this because there was some stuff in the news because I know that immediately as soon as I say S Factor, the thing on Netflix, it's all
you went down the rabbit hole,
right? You're going to head down the rabbit hole, and you're going to see that there was some stuff in the news where teachers are coming after her for her emotional release practices and
which is interesting,
right? Because in these groups, now let me explain this for people that haven't seen it. In these groups.
Warning, we will have spoilers of the movie. So if you do not want to know what is going on in the movie, stop right here. And you go watch the movie. We don't want you mad at us.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it too much. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give you like a little roundabout so you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So within these groups, it's more than just learning how to dance on a pole or be sexy. And it's not for anybody else but you. So a lot of the people that come into it have traumatic things that they've got. Most women, we've done this before. We did this last year when we were talking about Women History Month. You and I came on a Hot Girl Pop-Up. We did the statistics. Most women have been through something traumatic within their lives. And so, and
men too.
Right.
And men too.
And men too. But this is a safe space for women, as far as I know, with the S Factor groups. I know with some of the other studios, men are allowed there too. But
it's all inclusive, but it is feminine, woman-based.
And so, it's just a way to kind of tap in and those emotions come up. And for me, like I do, goddess flow or Kundalini dancing. Okay. And that's really tapping in and being able to just shut off the lights. No one needs to know. I don't need to do this for anybody. And I am just dancing to release all of my crap. It's not about technique. It's not about any of that. So I thought that was pretty cool that she incorporated that piece. If you're a dancer, okay, Miss Sasha, if you're a dancer, have you ever used dance for release? Like you just pissed the world and you're like, screw this, I'm turning off all the lights and I'm gonna dance.
All the time. Like when I clean, when I'm like walking down the street, like I have a spirit of joy and it resides here. So I have to kind of do that or sing to kind of get through all of my little stuff because then it'll fester. So I do that to release quite often. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about before is trauma. And in this show, there's a lot of women that have these traumatic instances. But trauma, when you have trauma, what enters in is shame, especially with sexual abuse. You feel shameful. And when you sit in that shame, it can make you very stuck within your life. So how do you process through it? And this was kind of a cool way to see how people can connect and process through it. But I mean, was there any part of that just kind of made you feel maybe uncomfortable when you were watching them like process through it or cry or get emotional?
It was relatable. Mm-hmm. It was very relatable. Throughout this movie, I had almost like a reflective moment, and it made me realize that I had been processing my trauma as it came, as opposed to waiting for it. So I was doing all the right steps. I was like, okay, it was nice. I was like,
yes, I'm doing the right things. Yeah, because it was like that for me too, because I have just started my goddess flow or Kundalini journey, where I'm kind of taking the technical out of it and just moving for me, touching, feeling, you know, like just me, you know, tapping back into my femininity. And I can say that I've just started that journey, and it is eye-opening. It is something where there's pieces where I sat with myself and meditated for 6 years to figure out who the hell I am. And I started this journey, and now I'm learning more. Like,
I'm sorry. I just got my ear pierced yesterday and I forgot. I went to move my hair because the itch. I said, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great way to reclaim, you know, your body, reclaim who you are, especially if you've been through a traumatic experience.
So, you know what's funny? Just that's why this movie was really dope. So, fun fact about me, after I had my daughter, I ended up becoming everything I didn't want to become.
Right.
Like a single woman with a baby mama.
Yeah.
I was struggling baby mama, and I was right for it. And then on top of that, my body had changed in a way that I never thought it would. Like, it was a gift. And then I'm like, okay, now I recover.
Now what?
And I'm alone. I don't have, you know, someone, spoiler alert, I became alone, and I didn't have nobody to tend to me. And then I had postpartum like hair loss. So then I shaved my hair. Yep. So I'm like, in all of my vulnerability, guess what I started to do? I picked up a side job and I started dancing out of town. And I was bald. And the first time I went and danced, I had rave reviews. I didn't disappoint. I was happy. But I was told that I needed to put hair on because that wasn't feminine enough. Yeah. At any rate, it was cool to see that I was doing that work to reclaim the things that I've lost. And I've done that in other ways before, but like to know that that's a class and it's a thing was super dope.
Right. And you start to kind of realize in watching this show, how much the outside world impacts your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Impacts everything that you do, how you should be doing it. When, gosh, wouldn't it be nice just to live in your own body and be okay with that? Like, you don't have to be so strong. You don't have to do this. You don't, you know, like, and just connect to you. Like, I just feel like there's such a big piece missing in society for that. So I really appreciated watching it because it's like a judgment-free zone, you know?
So one of the takeaways I had from that as well, I said, why does it take crisis for women to find oneself? I feel like it really does take those breakdowns, and hopefully, prayerfully, it would be in the moment that you have those little crises, but it always takes existential crisis for, you know, divorce, you know, because that was touched on, or, you know, tragic loss, or most of it was tragic loss.
Most of it was tragic loss or some kind of trauma. Yeah, some kind of abuse.
Forced trauma.
Yeah. Yep. But it was really beautiful to watch these women almost emerge and kind of turn into butterflies at the end of it. I'm not going to give you guys too many spoilers, but I am going to talk about some of the people on there just because I think it needs to be addressed, you know? So like one of outside of Sheila Kelly, who runs, you know, the group, and we'll kind of come back to that because she's in the news. But one of the other women that was on there, I believe her name was Allison. I found her story really interesting because she was talking about how she had kids. She had put on 60 pounds, right? Had 2 kids. She was still going to church. She just started doing pole fitness just as something fun to do to lose the weight because she couldn't drop the weight any other way. She drops all the weight, becomes a teacher, right? But she's married. And her husband is completely and totally against her having any kind of social media outlet or showing her body whatsoever. And she's a teacher. So while all the other teachers are able to put up posts on their social media saying, hey, this is what I'm teaching in class today. Look at this beautiful lift. Look what I can do. You know, it boosts their numbers. It helps their career. She's unable to do that. And there was just a piece of me where I'm sitting there going, you are so empowered and gorgeous on this pole, and the way you move, your strength, your ability, and
it's an art,
right? And you can't stand in your own power and go, but this is my body. This is what I want to do with it. You know, like,
okay, I have a bomb to drop after that.
Okay, go ahead. Drop your bomb.
Marriage does not give ownership to one's body, to one's femininity. No one owns a woman's femininity. That's not inherently, you know, up to your spouse to own, you know. Yeah, like in other cultures, like I get the respect in it. That's different.
Yeah.
Because I get that respect. I get that. But in the ownership sense of like, no, you don't own your wife. You don't own anything that she gets to do.
Right. And well, that's one of the things that, you know, I'm going to piggyback on that. I think that femininity, and this is probably part of the reason I'm evaluating this right now, part of the reason I've kind of shunned away from femininity, is femininity is looked at as like, ooh, she's being sexy. She's, if I can't have it, if I can't claim it, if it's not mine, then it doesn't need to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or so I deserve it because it exists.
Right. Like, okay, well, it's in front of me, so I should be able to own this, claim this, it's for me. Well, a lot of times, I'm sorry, honey, to tell you, but a lot of times when women step out on that stage, it's not for you, it's for them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. And they don't even have to be on a stage. I mean, you could be walking in the grocery store. I know you've caught that, Miss Sasha. Walking in the grocery store and you're undressed before you ever even get to the cash register.
So I'm just getting back to a sense because my, you know, the way I was brought up, I should cover up. And I get why I was taught that. Because no matter what I wear, I'm going to look the way I look. I'm going to get that attention. I'm getting to the point now where it's like, I don't want to second guess wearing shorts, but I have to because of how I'm going to be looked at. Right. Or the comments I'm going to get because the way I own my body, somebody feels like, oh, because you're acting like that or dressing like that or dancing like that, then it's because you want to be taken.
Right. Just because someone's being sexual or sensual does not mean that they are inviting you to have sex with them. Like that's just not
a mating call.
Be sensual. Women are meant to be sensual, sexual beings. We're shaped like a certain way for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's from the beginning of time. So where people think
just a taste, like just a gem to keep like in the back of your head, guys. People have been, worshiping women has been a practice that have been had when Jesus was walking the earth. That's why there were like brothels or bathhouses, and if you chose to, you just harness feminine energy and it has healing powers. Women are the base of life. So you go and you will worship, or you go and bask in a woman's feminine energy because you're getting inspiration. It's been it's something to be aspired to have, and it can't be captured, you know. So a woman walking in that, she's powerful. It's all get out.
And it doesn't matter if you're overweight, it doesn't matter if you're underweight, it doesn't matter if your eyes are too far apart. You're a woman, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful. Step into that femininity and be okay with it.
And you just see who has it. It doesn't have to be an external thing. You can see anybody. I've seen little girls have more little woman energy than any woman that I can see. And it's a thing, you know what I'm saying? And you just have it, and it's not for anybody else.
Well, and it's something that can also be learned, like we brought up, because I mean, I had to learn it. I know Miss Sasha had points where you had to learn it, you know, or you have to shut off the masculine mindset, you know,
because I do have very, very masculine energy, and there's even some feminine ways that I suppress within myself. Certain times when I'm in a certain mind state, I don't like certain feminine ways that I have. And when I am in a more softer mind state, I love those things.
Right.
You know, I was listening to, I forget her name. I'll have to find her name. but she's a lesbian, and she says she has feminine energy, but she airs more on the side of masculine energy. Mm-hmm. And when she's doing, I guess, her sensual thing, she doesn't like the jiggle because she's more in her masculine sensuality,
her masculine standpoint.
So that would
be, that's interesting, because that's somebody that, right, dances in and dances in that way, but is in a masculine energy while they're doing it. Which I think you totally can do, because if you're there like, I'm getting money and I'm gonna do my thing and I'm a business person, that's that masculine energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So I personally dance that way. I can do ballet, and I can be very graceful, and I can have my lady energy. I can have my sensual energy, and then I can have my like hood. Hey. That's my masculine energy. Or when I play sports, I'm very masculine.
Same here. I was a tomboy growing up, so yeah.
And when I'm doing my primal stuff, that gets in my way. Like when I'm boxing, or when I'm doing baseball, or when I'm running, my femininity is getting in my way.
Yeah. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
The booty cheeks, the boobies.
The boobs. Because I remember going and playing golf, and I'm like, I can't, no, you guys don't understand. I can't hold the stick like that.
Irritating. Okay, you get it. So there's a way to tap into that feminine energy, because ballet helps me do that. Right. Because I did have a male perspective. So you have to learn that. So it's great that, there was I guess a hymn what is it called?
Like a representation of it.
Yeah, like a girl. There was I'm trying to not be vulgar, I guess.
Be vulgar. I'll bleep it out. Beep.
No, like she was a stud.
Okay, yeah, stud.
Yeah, there was a stud there, and she wanted to feel that energy that she never felt, because who knows what the trauma was, or just the deep disconnect. But she was like, I just wanted to feel that. Like, what does it feel like? I want to still be able to navigate that.
She actually said it at the end. She goes, I use this as a protection mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I fit. You see what I look like? That's what I fit. So that's my stance. Keeps me protected. Get the fuck back up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and she was just like, it's just so amazing to know that, like, even though this has been my stance my whole life, that I can bring. There's a woman under here. Hold on, wait, what?
Yes.
That my body moves like this. Hold on. So it was really interesting to watch. That piece was interesting, and I could connect to that piece because, like I said, I grew up very masculine energy. Okay, all the time. My mom was a dom, so just all the way around masculine energy. So for me to try and search it out and find it myself, there's even a part of me, because I'm working alone, I'm not in a class where I'm working with other women and connecting. But there's a part of me that sits there and goes, I like this. Ooh, I like all of the, look at the S. I didn't know I had hips like that. But
right. And what is this?
Right. But there's still a part that feels guilty, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Like there's a part that feels guilty for feeling good in my own body.
See, that's a different point that I had too. Yeah. But to piggyback on what you just said, I said, when we don't know what femininity should look like, because it's uncomfortable and we kind of like shut it off, or it's been looked at wrong, we shut it off. But internally, we often find ourselves finding women that we're like, okay, I think that's what a woman should look like. So we end up just modeling ourselves after women in our lives, or women that we watch on TV, because we're not really taught what that is.
Yeah. And that's very, very true. Because I think there's even women that have grown up with mothers in the home that are very feminine, but they're still not taught. And that was a point that was brought up in the show. And I can attest to that because I have boys. And so it's like, she was explaining how, like, when a boy comes out, you teach them, be strong. Yeah. Be a boy, be a man. Yeah. When a girl comes out, you teach her to not show any of that and not connect to her femininity because it's dangerous. And really, honestly, it is. But like, why does it have to be like that? Why?
Yeah. It says, why are we dangerous? Because I love myself.
Right.
Like, I feel like, I know me, I walk in feminine energy. I used to always, say and be told, you just ooze sex, like everything about you, like how could I not look at you? It's like, why am I dangerous? Why do I have to be like bait? Because I'm not putting myself out there for nobody else.
Being you.
I have pride in myself, and I walk in all of my feminine energy, and I own who I am. So why do I have to be an attitude? Why do I have to be a problem? Because I can be affirmed in who I am. Like, yeah, I should be dangerous then, because I know my power, I guess.
Right, exactly. But see, that's why we're coming on here to discuss stuff like this, because I would really love to see that change, because I can't tell you how hard it's been for me struggling. I mean, still to this day, I'm almost 40 and I'm sitting here still struggling, you know, to find my femininity, to be okay with it, to have it accepted even, you know?
Yeah. Well, even to address it as a Black woman, like if you're too assured in your femininity, then you're like looked at as a whore or a slut or whatever. Or if you are in the business world, you do have to be, you know, strong, but not, you know, the angry Black woman. So you're always holding back. Yep. You never feel like you have a release for anything. You can't be sensual. You know, you have to be looked at a certain way. So if I am sensual, I won't be respected in the business world. I've struggled with that too. So you find yourself on the dude aspect, very like, I can't embrace my femininity and dress soft because I'm not going to be taken seriously, because I've run into that too. Being too soft and not taken seriously.
Right. You're a joke. Mm-hmm. And seen as like an easy pushover, which that's not the case either. I just don't understand where femininity has now gotten the bad rap of weak.
It's weak because people want to take ownership of their own femininity, and it's not just to be pigeonholed by society as a gimmick, you know? It's not a gimmick anymore. It's not a selling tactic anymore. It's like, you know, I should be able to wear assless chaps to the store if I want to.
If I want to, and not be raped on the way out.
It would be okay if it was a gay man doing it. It's like, oh, well, he's gay, he should be able to. Well, because I'm a woman, I should be able to. Because you're gay, you should be able to. Like,
exactly.
I should be able to feel comfortable. Like, I don't even feel comfortable to wear a sports bra or shorts.
Yep. Not without being hollered at from a car while you're running down the street.
Right. Or in a gym class, because I'm scared that I'm about to be tempting the deacons, or somebody's about to be lusting after me like a piece of steak, because I want to comfortably work out.
Yeah.
Or I want to run down the street and not have somebody pull over and say, do you need help?
Well, yeah, I mean, and the crazy thing is that you get shit like that even if you're not dressed like that. Like, what like, where is the balance for women, honestly? Where is the balance?
It's sad that we have to find solace in a safe space as a sensual dance class to even feel like ourselves. Like, damn, that's really what it is.
You gotta go close yourself up in a class with no mirror so that you can, you know,
in a safe space so I could live and exist and be like the sensual goddess that I am, and not have somebody say, damn, them titties though. Like, whoa,
hey, just no. Yeah. I mean, that whole piece is crazy. And one of the other people that I wanted to bring up on there, because I really like the way that her story progressed, and I'm not going to give too much of the names. You'll see it if you go to watch it. But she went into adult entertainment industry at a young age, and then, you know, opened up a pole dance class and ended up being a teacher and competitor, all that. But I thought it was really interesting that she explained that she got into it not really knowing, you know, and just kind of did it for money type of a deal. And she was part of a church, you know, and, you know, was still going to church and doing that, and then gets confronted by people at her church, and she's the one that got in trouble. Yet the guys that were watching her on this video didn't get in trouble at all. You know what I'm saying? And she got ostracized from the church.
It's expected for guys to be dogs and howl at you, and we're taught to not take that, but expect that, and expect it more if you are feminine.
Right.
The more feminine you are.
Yeah. And so, like, as her story progressed, I really loved it, because she almost sounded like she was, you know, in regret over what she had done, you know, being in the adult entertainment industry and it following her around. And towards the end of it, it was really awesome to hear her say, there is nothing wrong with what I did. Like, I don't care if it follows me around. There's nothing wrong with that. I went and I did a service. I did it on my own consent. I enjoyed myself while I was doing it. Yes, I may have not understood everything that was going on at the time, but it's out there. It was a piece of me. I'm proud of it's where I'm at now. I mean, and I think a lot of women that are sex workers, you know, catch that bad rap. So I'm going to roll this back into that sex worker thing, because I honestly want to ask you, because you stood on a stage before. You said in your own safe work.
It was great.
You stood on a stage before. You danced before.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that women then are looked at very negatively with the title of sex worker?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Okay, so my stance on sex work is selling sex. We sell sex all the time, first of all. I wouldn't consider dancing sex work. It's me dancing. I wasn't completely nude. I'm not gesturing. I'm not doing nothing crazy. I'm not shooting ping pong balls after my vag, or, you know, riding dildos on stage. So, and even if I was, whatever.
Yeah, even if,
but
more power to you.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But like, I kept my top on. I didn't even have to do anything. I did what I wanted to do in it, honestly. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with owning your sexuality. It was an experience that I needed to feel sexy still after I had a baby, and I got that. That's what I got from it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I was able to make money off being me, and I felt like it. There's nothing wrong. I don't take it back either.
Right. Same here, because I've worked in the sex industry as well, you know, as a dom in the dungeon, but I also had a wife that was a major porn star, you know, passed away now, but I can tell you, you know, even after she retired, she still was like, but I did the damn thing. Like, what's the problem? Because I showed up to work on time. I did the damn thing and I got a paycheck. So why is everybody looking at me like, oh, I'm going to sleep with this person and the homeless people on the street corner? You know, like there's nothing wrong if you're doing an honest day's living and you're not hurting anyone, to be open with your sexuality, be a voyeur, be an exhibitionist, you know, all of those things, but own up to it and be okay with it.
And honestly, I would love to destigmify or to separate the two. Enjoying your body and sex is different. You know, you can enjoy your body and be able to show your body and be able, it's not for sexual gratification. If you get aroused by it, that's fine. I think I'm sexy. I turn myself on.
Right.
So you're going to, whatever, it is what it is. There's people who go there just to watch you dance and want to pay you.
I'm gonna piggyback on that while I throw it in here. I'm gonna piggyback on that while I throw. That has nothing to do with my
sexuality. There's gay broads who dance for men all the time, or do, you know, they act, you know, like being open in who you are and being able to communicate through your body does not mean that has anything to do with your sexuality. Yeah. I think when you're doing modeling and maybe you sell your art in a different platform or whatever like that, I don't think that is sex work. If you are using sex and toys and actually selling, hey, this is the verbiage that I am using. This is me using this for sex work. Does that, I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, that makes sense, because that's your definition of what sex work is. And all I was saying is, like, when you are doing that kind of modeling, it's because societally, that's what write it down.
And that's why we're here to have these conversations. And kind of like, we're here to break down these stigmas even that we have within ourselves. I've been doing more of the editorial kind of modeling and stuff like that. And I've done some runway modeling where it's more lingerie. I'm getting to a point where I want to do more lingerie modeling. I, even within myself, have to kind of warm up my audience on my platform to even accepting me that way, because it is looked at that way. You know, so like you have to implement, okay, I'm kind of re-imaging myself because I am accepting myself more. You have to warm people up to it. And it's crazy that you even have to.
Right. Because, like, why you can't just say, hey, look, I'm doing this for me. It's self-empowerment. Like I had a friend online who, during the pandemic, she was teaching ganja yoga, right? So they'd smoke, and then she'd do a whole session and take you through yoga all through Zoom. You know, she had these big classes. And then about halfway into the pandemic, she goes, I'm going to start an OnlyFans. And I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. She said, I'm doing it for me. I want to see me like this. I turn myself on. It's not for anybody else. But if you guys want to come join and see this journey of women empowerment, then by all means. And I thought that was freaking awesome, right? I thought her post was awesome. I was like, yes, girl, get it. Like, do it for you. She lost half her class.
Yep.
And so many bad comments. She lost half her following. Her freaking business, as far as like yoga
sponsorships,
started going the other direction. I was just like, oh my gosh, all because she decided, and she wasn't doing anything sexual in nature on OnlyFans. She was sitting there literally doing like what you're talking about now, lingerie modeling, you know, the teas. There is an art form to that. You know, that's why there was boudoir dancing and all that kind of thing, you know, with the fans. And I mean, there's a whole,
there's burlesque, there's all, it's such an art. There's so many things to it, but it's like, okay, if this has been my following and you have you have to rebrand yourself and you have to be tactful in how you do that. And it's sad again that that's the society that you live in these days, or that we live in. You can't be empowered to be you because there's somebody waiting around the corner to just.
And that is a perfect
label it.
Yeah, that is a perfect thing to like almost take us out here, because I'm going to touch on Sheila Kelly, because I'm sure as soon as you look her up and you look this up, you're gonna see Sheila Kelly's in the news. Now, there's some stuff that has come out with teachers that are coming after her for having what she calls the shattering, and this is not anything you can find out on the show itself. But it's like the flood. Okay, it's like flooding. It's emotional breakthrough, and a lot of the teachers are coming after her and trying to sue her, you know, that kind of thing, because they signed up for a retreat, had a breakdown while they're at the retreat, although they're putting women through this anyways. You signed up for it. You're being consent. I mean, like it's like someone coming into my dungeon or someone sitting on a therapist couch and going, okay, I'm ready to work on myself. And then when they have a breakthrough and they can't handle it, it's like, it's your fault. No, it's
like you sent me to the mental institution. I'm like, no, this is it's a consensual thing, and you are a willing participant. You're signing up for therapy. So the fact that you just can't handle that floodgate that opened, how can you go out your way to blame that on somebody else? And the thing is that she has tools in place. So anybody that's going through these things, she has, you know, a licensed psychologist on call. She's got, you know, a list of resources. Hey, I can take you up, you know, so far on this journey, but I am not a licensed therapist. So here's some numbers. Make some phone calls if you're really trying to help yourself. But then why go, then this is why I was piggybacking off of you, is why go after the woman that's creating a foundation, a place for women to tap back in? And you're a woman, a teacher from these courses, and there might be some politics. I understand in dance studios there's politics, but what you're coming after her for is everything she's building her business around, everything she's trying to help people with. And it's like, I mean, people do that to yoga instructors too, because people have stigmatized some yoga teachers and how sometimes they could be, I call it mentally invasive, but you have to have insurance for these things. So it's like, I'm sure they have a business license and other, like you said, tools in place, but it's asinine how people want awakening and then get scared that it happens.
Yes, that piece. Get scared that it happens. Well, I'm sure we will touch on this a whole heck of a lot more. We got some more stuff coming up for you here shortly. We will be coming back with some more hot girl pop-ups, because I know that we got more to dive deep on with all of this. But for tonight, that's all we have. And if you guys want to discuss this deeper or have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comment section below. But you got anything else to say to the people, the beautiful people, Miss Sasha?
You know, free your mind and the rest will follow. That's all we have to say. That's all we want to preach. And we thank y'all for hanging out with us. All right?
Bye.
All right.